Hey everyone, happy Tuesday. This week is especially exciting because I just released my latest course, Watercolor Florals in Procreate. So I wanted to share one of the lessons for free from the course today in case you've never experimented with watercolor brushes before or weren't sure how they appeared in Procreate. Procreate 5's new brush engine is pretty cool. You can do some really neat effects, including watercolor that looks really realistic in Procreate. So this tutorial is super beginner friendly, so if you've never even opened up Procreate before, you'll be able to follow along. And if you'd like to use different brushes, you can totally do that. It'll just change up the style a little bit. So without further ado, here's a lesson from my newest course, Watercolor Florals in Procreate. In this video, we're going to replicate real flowers. So I'm going to create a brand new document that is screen sized. Make sure you've loaded in your color palette for project 1. Okay, I've got my screen sized document all ready to go. The first one we're going to create is called a snowdrop, and the snowdrop kind of looks like a depressed flower. All the petals are facing downward, and then it's kind of got this hook-shaped stem on it. So the colors we're going to be using for this one are the dark blue for our petals, the dark green for our stem and our leaves, and then the dark orange for the transition area from our petals to our stem. The one brush that we're using for this flower is our medium paint round, so make sure you've got that selected and you'll be all set to go. So I'm going to grab my blue first and we're going to paint the petals. And the size of my brush is 7% for this. So I'm going to create the center petal first, and then we'll put the other petals on it using the wet on dry technique. So for my center petal, it's going to be teardropped in shape. But instead of it being a hard point at the end, I'm going to make the point a little softer. So it's a little bit more of a curve at the very tip than a point. So kind of like that. And then for the next petal, you're just going to do the same thing but overlap. So it's going to come like this. And then for the final petal, we're just going to do the exact same thing on the other side. Okay, so those are our petals for our snowdrop. And now we're going to create that transition area. So create a brand new layer, grab your dark orange, and then just put a little dot at the very center right here. And if it's not as dark as you would like it, just go over it one more time and that'll darken it up. So now for our stem, we're going to create a brand new layer. We're going to grab our green, and this is going to hook up and then down. And then we're going to add on 2 leaves. I'm going to use the pressure technique for my leaves. So I'm going to go little pressure, lots of pressure, little pressure, and then put another one over here. Little pressure, lots of pressure, little pressure. I actually think I want to move the stem just a little bit closer, so I'm just going to tap it over and down. Okay, so now that we have our snowdrop, we can group all of our layers together. So just slide them to the right, hit group, toggle up, rename snowdrop. Okay, on to our next flower. Our next flower is going to be the chrysanthemum. So I'm going to create a brand new layer. We're going to do the petals first once again. So I'm going to grab my dark orange color. I'm still using my medium paint round brush, and I'm still using a 7% size brush. So I start with the center petal first, and this is going to be an upside down teardrop. So it's going to look like this. Color it in. And then on either side of it, we're going to use that extreme teardrop shape. So it's going to be really curvy and then come back down. And you're going to do the exact same thing on the other side. And then we're going to repeat the exact same process one more time, but now the petals are going to get skinnier and a little bit flatter. And then the same thing on the other side. Okay, once you have all of your petals, I like adding an extra layer of color just to add a little bit more depth. So I'll come up the center petal halfway, and this will darken it up and just look like there's another petal right there coming up. Same thing over here. Okay, now we can create a brand new layer. We're going to draw our stem next, so grab your dark green color again, and this is just going to come downward. And now we're going to create the transition area between the petals and the stem. So this is going to be really simple. It's the pointed oval shape for these. And then we're going to add on our leaves. So I'm going to do the exact same thing that I used for the snowdrop with the pressure style leaf. So light pressure, heavy pressure, light. And then over here, the same thing. Okay, so that is our chrysanthemum. So I'm going to group these together and label it chrysanthemum. Okay, for our third flower, we're going to create some sweet peas. So I'm going to create a brand new layer. I'm going to grab my dark pink color right here, and we're going to do very similar to what we did with the snowdrop, but instead of having our petals go from point to curve, it's going to go from curve to point. So I'll show you what that looks like. Our topmost flower is going to be a bud though, so it's going to be a little bit more closed up and smaller. So I'm going to create these little heart-shaped petals, and I'm just going to do 2 of them right here that are going to be up at the top. And then I'm going to do groupings of 3 petals each right beneath it. So right underneath this, I'm going to do 3 petals. So this one's all opened up. And then I'll do it again right here. And I'm going to have these ones overlap a little bit more. And then for our sweet pea, there's also flowers that kind of come off the side. So I'm going to draw some petals over here as well. And now we can put our stem on. So I'm going to grab my dark green color again. I'm going to create a brand new layer, and I'm going to switch to my sketching pencil brush for this. And I'm going to draw a stem all the way down and make sure that it meets each one of these groupings as it goes down. So this is going to come down here, through the middle there, and then down here. And then for these ones, they're going to branch off. And then wherever the petals meet the stem, I'm just going to draw a nice little transition. It's kind of like a triangle shape of just these 2 meeting together. Okay, and that is our sweet pea. So we can group these 2 layers together, rename this sweet pea, and I'm just going to select it and move it over a little bit. So I've got a little bit more room here. Our last flower is our daisy. So we're going to create a brand new layer up at the top. We're going to be using light pink for the petals on this. So grab your light pink, which is the first one on the second row. We're going to return to our medium paint round brush, and the size I believe is still at 7%. Yeah, we're going to keep our 7% size. We're going to have one daisy facing sideways and then one facing straight on. So for the one that's facing sideways, we're going to create a petal that is this teardrop shape, and they're going to overlap, and I'm going to put, I think, 4 of them right here. So we've got our petals right there, and then we're going to do petals all the way around. So this is the forward facing one. And I like leaving some white space right in the middle for the center. Okay, and now we can put in the centers of our daisy. So create a brand new layer, grab your brown. And for this one, it's going to be an oval up at the top, and then it's going to flatten out where it meets the petals. And then we're just going to put a dot in the center of the other one. All right, and now we can draw in our stems. So create a brand new layer, grab your green. I'm going to return to my sketching pencil for this, for the stems. I'm going to draw this one down, and then this one's going to meet it. And then we can add in our leaves using our medium paint round. And I'm going to put a bunch of leaves on these ones. Looks like I drew that a little bit crooked, but we can fix that easily. So just toggle your layers over, group, rename this daisy, and we can grab it, bring it over, and rotate it a little bit. That looks better. So that's how to create 4 flower doodles based on realistic flowers, all entirely in Procreate. For more videos just like this one, head on over to my course, Watercolor Florals in Procreate, located at every-tuesday.com/florals-procreate. It's a 5-hour, 10-project course that builds in complexity as you go through, so even if you're brand new to Procreate, you'll be able to follow along. And you can get the entire watercolor illustration brush set shown in this video for free if you decide to enroll in the course. So thanks in advance for checking it out, and I will see you next week.